Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise today in support of House Bill 466. Mr. Speaker, make no mistake, the bill before us today is a decisive opportunity to move forward on a key issue important to millions of Pennsylvanians. The bill in front of us gets the state out of business that it has no business being in, the complete monopoly of the wholesale and retail distribution of wine and hard liquor. This bill is a win for consumers. Once the state is out of the business, the private sector will provide consumers with the products they want, not the products that the government decides that the store should sell. Consumers will see better prices, better selection. This bill is a win in particular for the discerning customer. Today, to legally purchase high-end, exclusive, and unusual wine and hard liquor in Pennsylvania, one has to place a special order through the state liquor store system, wait until the product comes in, put a down payment down, and then eventually pay a significant markup. The process is clumsy, cumbersome. Frankly, I think it's ridiculous. This bill is a pro-small business bill. We've heard about this today. Some of the claims from the other side of the aisle. Some have claimed this legislation is a sellout. Some have claimed this legislation is a sellout to big box retailers like Walmart and Target, when in fact nothing could be further from the truth. Mom and pop beer distributors, the very definition of small business, get first crack to become the sole one-stop shop for beer, wine, and hard liquor across the Commonwealth. This legislation, importantly, is a win for Pennsylvania wineries, who have long struggled to get into the state-run monopoly. Back at home in southern Chester County, the local Pennsylvania wineries are poorly represented in the state store system, if at all. And in a demonstration of sheer irony, if you drive right over the state line to a liquor store in Delaware, you'll find local Pennsylvania wines prominently located on the store shelves. Now, I could entertain a continuation of the current state store liquor system if the management of the LCB had demonstrated a modicum of business sense and competency in the delivery of products to the consumer. The unfortunate truth is that the LCB has long been and continues to be the absolute definition of patronage and at times outright incompetence. Example number one, the unmanned wine kiosk, a vending machine installed in selected supermarkets where customers had to blow into a breathalyzer and look into a camera manned by a government bureaucrat in Harrisburg. The rollout and subsequent failure of this crazy idea wasted at least $1 million, and even years after the LCB pulled the plug, this failed program has proven to be a gift that keeps on giving to the legal community as the vendor and the LCB continue in costly litigation over the termination of the program. As another example, I point to the table leaf wine debacle. This comedy of errors came from a poorly conceived effort from the top of the LCB, who apparently thought it was not enough to have a monopoly on the wholesale and retail distribution of wine and hard liquor. No, now they thought the state needed to get into the manufacturing end of the business. So untold dollars were spent developing several in-house private labels, including the table leaf wine brand. And here's the kicker. The wine was sourced from Napa Valley in California, completely overlooking the dozens of qualified Pennsylvania wineries that for years have been struggling to even have a presence in a state-run monopoly. The LCB then took this store label, California wine, and gave it preferential store placement, again undercutting Pennsylvania wineries. As if this wasn't bad enough. The table leaf wine debacle showcases the lack of leadership and seeming lack of knowledge of how the LCB even operates from the gentleman who at the time was chairman when table leaf was developed. When the former chairman of the LCB was questioned as to how much the LCB had spent to advertise its own table leaf wine, he said to his knowledge they hadn't spent anything at all. As it turns out, ads pushing table leaf were one of the largest expenditures in the LCB's advertising budget. Now, I recognize that there are some who might say, look, Lawrence, these examples were in the past, all right? The LCB has gotten their act together now. Well, as recently as December, 2 months ago, the LCB rolled out a special allocation of the popular whiskey Pappy Van Winkle through a Twitter campaign driving consumers to the LCB's website. But when consumers responded and tried to make the purchase, many of them found they couldn't log on to the website to make the purchase. The ensuing website meltdown was a major embarrassment and got a lot of press as another LCD debacle. And guess what? The majority of folks who were able to get in and buy this exclusive whiskey through the website, turns out they weren't even from Pennsylvania. Most of the buyers ended up being from out of state. Now, ironically, shortly after this misstep, the LCB did move quickly on a different issue with the same Pappy Van Winkle whiskey. Less than a month after the website meltdown that left eager consumers stranded, the LCB moved quickly when it got wind that someone in Pittsburgh was trying to, of all things, sell a single bottle of this hard-to-find liquor in a private transaction. Heaven forbid two consenting adults sell a bottle of alcohol to each other in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to directly address one of the accusations made by detractors of this legislation. There are those that point to the so-called fact that the LCB is returning $500 million a year in profit to the state. These folks advocating this line of debate undercut their own case when they fail to mention the fact that almost all of that figure is not profit, but taxes collected on liquor. These taxes will be collected regardless of who sells the product. And if you are concerned about revenues, right, while no one can predict the future, if we can recapture even a portion of the folks who are currently going across the state line to buy alcohol in Delaware, Maryland, and other surrounding border states, revenues received from alcohol taxes are certain to increase. Anyone who doubts this simply needs to go to the parking lot of any liquor store right across the state line and take a look at the license plates of the people who are buying alcohol there. Those people, by the way, knowingly or unknowingly, are breaking the law by going across state line to simply purchase a bottle of wine, perhaps a bottle of Pennsylvania wine, from a local Pennsylvania winery that they couldn't find in the state store system next to their own house. It's incredible that we would force law-abiding citizens to break the law, subject themselves to potential fines and even jail time simply to enjoy a bottle of local Pennsylvania wine they had to purchase out of state because the state store in their own neighborhood refuses to carry it. Who could support the continuation of such a ludicrous, antiquated, poorly constructed, government-run monopoly? Now, Mr. Speaker, there are certainly a lot of special interest groups that don't want to see this legislation get signed into law. I've heard it said the only reason that liquor privatization hasn't happened in the last 80 years is that only the common man wants it. And there's a lot of truth to that. Over the past few years, special interest groups left and right have been walking the halls of the Capitol trying to do everything they can to stop this legislation from becoming law. Now, look, they're not bad people, and I respect everyone has the right to express their views, but I stand here today and say I'm on the side of the 70% of Pennsylvanians who want to see the legislature move forward on this issue, not on the special interests putting money and resources into everything they possibly can to stop it. Now, in closing, Mr. Speaker, I again want to reinforce this critical point. The vote we are about to take is a decisive vote. It is a telling vote. Whose side do you stand on? Are you on the side of the people of Pennsylvania who want to move forward with a system that 48 other states have put into place? A system that treats people as adults, gives them the price and selection they want? Or do you want to keep the current system? Or heaven forbid, expand the current system run by the state? Do you want to see more table leaf wine debacles? More unmanned wine kiosk debacles? Do you want to continue with a system that forces people who want to get something just a little bit different into making a special order with Lady Commonwealth and paying a huge markup? A system with an inherent conflict of interest between marketing, regulating, and enforcement on the same product. A state agency that runs radio ads encouraging people to buy vodka and drink it with their mother on Mother's Day. Today is the day to move forward. Today is the time to move forward. I encourage a positive vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair, thank